your new teacher.
Really?
Yeah, say hi to him.
I don't like him.
Say hi to him. Chloe, that's your new teacher at school. Say hi to Mr. Smith.
Hi, Miss Smith.
Are you excited about this new school year with him?
Yeah, but what's his new friends? I don't like that teacher.
Why?
Because I want Sandy. I don't want to go to that school ever again.
All right, so this is Off the Cuff Podcast. I am Dr. Minter.
And I'm Nurse Brian.
And this is another episode. And you just saw Nurse Brian and her daughter on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And you posted that.
I did.
Why did you post that?
Well, I finally figured out how to do that kind of TikTok. And I thought it'd be fun to do it with Chloe, just to have her included. But
do what?
I wanted to see her reaction.
Yeah, for what? I mean, like, what? Who was that guy?
Believe it or not, I went on Google and I just typed in, I was like, creepy mugshots or something like that. And I grabbed that one right away.
Yeah, so we're doing correctional nursing. And part of that is our warped sense of humor. Mm-hmm. Evidenced by Nurse Brian and her TikTok.
Yes.
So you go on the internet and you find a creepy mugshot.
Yeah.
You don't know who it is.
No.
Right?
No idea.
Some random guy.
Yep. Some creepy man.
Some probably child molester.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, the look.
Right.
Right? Or chomo, as they call them. And then you show it to your angelic looking kid.
Yeah.
And you say, that's your new teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was right before school started. It was like the perfect time to do it.
Ah, great.
Yes.
So you post that on TikTok, and then what happens?
My phone was blowing up.
Really?
Yes. So like every few seconds, it'd be like, you got to comment, you got to like, you got to comment, and it went on for hours. I told my husband, I'm like, and every time I refresh it, I would, refresh the page and it'd come back up and it would say 5,000 views. I would refresh it, would say 7,000 views. I'm like, how is this blowing up like this?
Yeah. Well, because that would polarize people. People either think it's funny or not funny.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So what were the comments that you got?
Some of the comments were, my favorite was this lady was like, she looks just like him, like me. Because I went like this real quick to show the camera to her, and they're like, oh, she looks just like him.
Oh, who? The
inmate? I look like the inmate. Yeah.
Oh,
that was my
okay.
favorite.
Yeah.
But some of the other ones were the not so nice ones. Were like, she's going to be ruined for the rest of her life. How do you do this to your child? Wait till she gets older. She's going to do the same thing to you. And people were like, you're teaching her to be hateful, which is funny because all of it was her opinion. Like, I didn't say anything beforehand to say, oh, Chloe, this is a nasty guy. Let's say something. No, this is her own formulated opinion of a 4-year-old kid.
Right.
Like, right before school started, she had just turned 4, too. She was, newly 4.
Great. So you pretty much scarred her for life.
Yeah, apparently. And I had to go and delete a bunch of comments. So
yeah,
I was
like what? Well, now you got to tell us what those comments are.
Well, those were the ones that were like, you're a horrible mom. How could you do this to her? You shouldn't have children. Things like that. I was like, oh my God.
Be sterilized.
Yeah, I was like, really? And I don't know. I thought it was really comical. And then most people, though, it was positive feedback. Most people were like, oh, that's so funny. She's so pretty. Like, she's so cute.
Come here, little girl, right?
Yeah, cute. It was cute.
Yeah.
It was super cute.
I don't know if it was cute.
I thought it was cute.
I don't think that normal people would think that was cute, I'd put some obviously child molester up there on TikTok with your kid, no less.
That's true.
Traumatizing.
It's our sick sense of humor.
Yeah. Well, I saw it, and I fell over laughing. So
did my family, because they know Chloe, and so they thought it was hilarious. My sister FaceTimed me crying, like she had tears coming down her face, and she's like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "That's the funniest ever."
Well, not only that, but the mugshots are. I don't think you're ever your best in mugshots.
No.
But some of them are, you think when they come in, you're like, they look like the Heat Miser on, the old, you probably don't remember that. Mm-mm. Yeah, too young. But it was an old, a cartoon with, clay figures. And it always came out around Christmas, and the guy had hair standing up on end. You'd see all these mugshots of people
those trolls.
I saw talking about mugshots. I saw one guy, what was it? I don't know. He's looking like this, like he's in a glamour shot. I'm like, now, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen one where somebody's really smiling in a mugshot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Some people smile and they're like, and they specifically tell them, I've heard them say like, hey, don't smile. Just make a very like flat face, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And they'll still be like, you know, they smile and they fix their hair too. They're like, does my hair look okay? I'm like, do you really want to look good or bad? Doesn't matter. It's a freaking mugshot. You probably hope no one ever sees it.
Well, you mean it's on the internet. I mean, as soon as you get booked in, I think it's on the internet.
It depends. It depends on where you work, but most of the time it's on the internet, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there was, I was in another state, and they had this, so they had a Facebook page, the Department of Corrections, and they would post, things like, John Smith is on the run. You know, if you see him, you know, call department, don't approach him, you know, whatever, right? And so they'd put it on, and they would get like 5 likes, you know, like nobody cared,
Yeah.
right? And they would post fairly regularly, and you know, and it was usually, you know, about finding somebody. So, or once in a while they'd be like, we're having a job fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just like the person who did it, I think, was really dry and maybe autistic,
Right.
and just nothing funny about it, you know. So it was just like, please come see us in our job fair next week,
Yeah, boring.
even if you've been in prison or something, you know, like,
yeah.
right, you know. So one time they put this. It was one of these, we can't find so-and-so who just went out on the lam kind of person who they put an ankle bracelet on and they took off. So they post this and they say, please find we're looking for so-and-so. But her name was Clitorius.
Oh my God.
And so Clitorius
I can see how bad this would go.
was on the run. And they post this, right? So the first comment was from some lady, and she said, women know where she is, but the men can't find her. And it took off from there.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, they had like, it went viral, and they had millions and millions, and it was all comments like that. And it was like, did they really name her that? Or is that for real or whatever? And so one guy said, I don't know, I just called into work. I just picked up a 6-pack and I'm just going to stay home and read these comments. Somebody put in finally something that unites the United States.
Now, my question is, did they ever find her?
They found her.
They did?
Yeah.
And who was it? Do you know who found her? Was it a guy, a girl?
No, they didn't say, but, you know, everybody knew about it. So, but of course, they're so dry. They get on there and they're like, we want to thank you for everybody in the United States, helping to find Clitorius. Like, you know, they were just kind of making, and they didn't take the comments down, which is the funniest thing. So I think they can shut the comments off. But I don't think they even maybe knew how to do that, or maybe they wanted to leave them up.
God,
But
that is so funny.
Yeah.
The guy with the 6-pack just wanting to stay home and read the comments all night.
Or Clitorius.
Yeah.
Who wound up right back in prison.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was funny.
So when me and my husband first started dating, he worked as an off-duty police officer in Nashville off of Broadway, which is like that main strip, you know? And this is a funny story, actually. And he comes home from work, and it's like, I don't know if it was like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and he flips the light on, and I'm like, ah. And he brings over his handcuff. There's green fur in them. And I was like, why the hell do you have fur in your handcuffs? And he's like, I arrested the Grinch. I said, no, you did not. Shut up. He's like, no, I did. So apparently someone in the bar recorded him. Santa and the Grinch were like fist fighting each other, like beating the shit out of each other. My husband jumps up and like runs over a couch, comes down on the Grinch, and all you see is like there's like a wall, and all you see is hands going like this. And then the next clip in the video is my husband with the Grinch with his hands behind his back cuffed. And they're just standing there on Broadway. And it's funny because there's this couple in the back, like, consoling each other. They're like, oh, he saved the day. And it's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so cute. That's one of my favorite ones of my husband. Yeah.
With the Grinch?
Uh-huh. Oh, my gosh, so cute.
Well, what about Santa?
I don't know if they ever got Santa. I think the Grinch was the one that was starting it. But, needless to say, my husband single-handedly saved Christmas that year. Just want everyone to know that.
From the Grinch?
Yeah.
Because he arrested him.
Yeah, because think about all those presents that those kids would have gotten,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, do you ever see the difference from what people tell you when they come in to whatever the arrest warrant is?
Oh, my gosh, I love those.
Yeah,
yes.
But what the difference is.
Yes.
So, and I don't really look at them or something, but if they're sitting there, and there was one guy, he came in and he's like, I asked him what happened because I was trying to determine how, what the injuries were. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't know. I was in a bar and I just want to finish my beer. And then all of a sudden, 10 cops came in and pounced on me. And all I wanted to do was just finish my beer. I was going to take it outside. Well, and then I got arrested.
And then you sit there and you're like, wow, you didn't even do anything. What and then you have to investigate.
Yeah, and then the report is sitting right there, mm-hmm. and it's like, like vastly different. Like, the whatever they call it, suspect, jumped 5 people or whatever, and knifed so and so or whatever else. But none of that was mentioned. It's totally, totally different.
Yeah.
What kind of differences have you seen
I've had
besides
that
the Grinch?
Okay, so I've had people come in, several too, and they'll be like, yeah, I need a wheelchair. I can't walk, and you're like, all right. So you tell them, go ahead and give them a wheelchair. We'll have to do some release of information, try to figure out what's really going on if they really do require a wheelchair, whatever. So it's funny. So they'll come in and they're young. A lot of times they're really young too. And you're like, there's no way, but you never know. So I read the affidavit, and it says that he was running from the police and he ran through the woods, and they had the dogs let out on him and all that. And I'm like, so... And
where's the wheelchair come into place?
So it's like really awkward when you have to be like, hey, I read your arrest report, and you were running through the woods, like jumping over, tree branches and mud and all of that. So we need that wheelchair back, buddy, Yeah. So that's when it comes into play too. And a lot of times we don't even read them, but if you have to confirm something or like investigate something, then we need to, look at that.
Yeah. They, in prison, there was a guy who used a cane all the time, and he was in for a while. And so they went to release him, and they, I guess, let him out, or they took him to the bus stop or something. Mm-hmm. And they take him to the bus stop because finally gets out after all these years. And he hands the cane to the prison person. He's like, yeah, I don't need this anymore. And they're like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, I just need it for protection.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, you never needed it.
I've heard them wanting it for, like I said, they can be manipulative, and it's harder than being in the hospital because you have to sift through that crap, And I remember the jail I was working at before. I was walking, it's a bunch of general population pods, and I'm walking past all these glass pods, and I'm coming into work to go clock in, and I so happen to look over, and there's a guy with his walker, and he's like, ah. So I go up to my supervisor, and I'm like, hey, he doesn't need that. Like, he's using it for, like, working out, and then he would get back, he'd put it behind me, he'd lower himself, he's like, ah. And I'm like, I told her, I'm like, we have to take this away. This is not for the right reasons. And she's like, sorry, we can't do that. I'm like, what do you mean we can't do that? She's like, technically, like, legally, we can't take it away, like, unless the doctor says that that's okay.
Yeah, ask him.
Yeah, so at that point.
Put him on video.
Yeah, yep.
Right.
So, you talk to the provider, and that's when they can, clear it or whatever. But until then, it was like, I just couldn't believe I look in, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a good thing about jail. More jail than prison is that there's cameras everywhere.
Yes, everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of them have audio, and they're in places that you wouldn't think, like near the restroom, not in the restroom, so you can see if there's any fights or anything. You try to.
Right.
But, like I said, if they're going to fight, they're going to go in the restroom and do it because there's no, legally they cannot have one in there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Or they'll go in the shower in the stall and like fist fight, which is like this big. I'm like, I don't know how they do it, but.
Yeah. Or back of the cell.
Yeah. Yep, they know what to do. They know how to do it when they want to do it.
Right.
So.
Or they'll get other inmates and like they'll all stand or form a chain and then beat up some guy so the camera can't see because there's people in front of them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of the audio and video is helpful for pretty much. I mean, it's kind of disconcerting to be under that much observation all the time. And it tends to be more jail than prison because prison's kind of like, yeah, whatever. You know, like, like there's just not as, I mean, maybe the prisons that I've been in, they don't tend to be, maybe the higher level ones, but, you know, I was organizing my locker one day and the charge nurse called me and she's like, are you downstairs organizing your locker? Yeah. You know, or you get lost and then you hear a voice out of the ceiling. They're like, can we help you? Are you looking for the cafeteria?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like on day shift, I remember there was a time where, you know, you push a button to go through the vestibule to go to the pod and I'll click on it. And then I wait a minute. I'm like, all right, I'm going to be respectful because these people, you know, it blinks on their screen for them to let me in. I'm like, all right, I'll wait a second. And then no one's coming. I'm like, all right. I don't hear the beep for the door, so I do it again. And they're like, can you hold on a minute? And I'm like, good Lord. Yeah. And then it's cool, too, because, you know, you and I talked about, I think, a little bit earlier, is that, you know, being able to review that footage is huge, too, because if, say, they had an unwitnessed seizure and we can review the camera footage to see if they hit their head, that's huge there.
Yeah, and they can slow it down, like make them fall slower. And then you can see them in slow motion falling.
Right.
You know,
Did they catch themselves or what, you know?
Yeah, and frequently do.
Yep. It's one of the best tools, I think, in the jail to be able to look at that footage for that, yeah.
Or a
sure.
controlled fall.
Yep.
Yeah, and they can narrow that down pretty well. And then what I do is I document, I've seen this camera at this time. So if somebody has any questions on my documentation, they can go back and say, okay, she's looking at this camera at this time.
Right.
Which helps. But yeah, I mean, cameras are pretty much everywhere.
Oh, yeah. And especially up front in intake, there's a lot of audio. And they'll come in, they'll like have their hands behind their back, you know, cuffed. They'll be like, am I being recorded? And they'll be like, yeah, see that camera right there? Like, hey, I'm in here for no reason. Do you understand me? And they'll be like talking to the camera. We're like, hey, we need to talk to you. We need to talk. No, listen to what I'm telling you right now. And
I'm talking to people
and they're
in the
talking
ceiling.
to the thing in the ceiling. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And the tower's got other things to do than that.
It's just funny when they come in and they're like, I better be recorded. This better be recorded. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. I had one once. It was a patient had OD'd or something, and I had to be on the ground because I was doing some airway and I mean, I knew the guy was going to come around, and he started thrashing. And I don't move very fast, so I'm kind of crawling across the floor to get away from. Well, anyway, that was a big amusement to see Minter crawling across the floor. So. To get away from it. They're like, we saw you crawling across the floor.
Oh, my
I'm like,
goodness.
yeah, great. Yeah, thanks. But prison doesn't seem to have those for some reason. They can't seem, and I don't know if it's everywhere or not. I know that they say, oh, well, they don't staff the towers. I don't think there's any towers anywhere, really. I mean, I think they're all electronic at this point.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, used to have the guard shacks like Shawshank Redemption, like where
Old school.
Yeah, where they would stand up there and with rifles.
Yep.
But I don't think they do that anymore.
I don't think so. At least not where I've been.
Just say there's somebody getting out, or let the dogs loose, or something. We don't have any dogs, but
Yeah.
we had one dog in the jail. It's because he couldn't make it on the road. Like he was too nice.
Yeah.
He like walk around with his ball all the time. You know, I mean, like he could like check for drugs or something, but
Not aggressive enough, basically.
I said, will he bite? You know, and they're like, no, he flunked being out on the road. He'd be stand there with his like Kong toy. So he just did searches all day. He was kind of like the emotional support dog in the jail because he flunked being out on the road. But we keep telling people, don't run from the popo.
No. Do not run. Do not
Because
run.
the dog will win.
Yes, and they tear you up, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, because when they attach on, they don't let go, and
Yeah.
it's like they just tear that skin up. And honestly, I've never seen anything quite like a canine bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is disgusting. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Just so that's if you don't remember anything else from our podcast, is don't run from the police.
Do not run. My gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine the healing process on that. I cannot.
Well, they all heal. They're usually younger.
Yeah.
I had some old guy a long time ago, but prison, and he got bit up, and like he was missing chunks. He was so ornery. I don't blame the dog.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just so unpleasant. Like, I'm like, well, that dog probably sensed that guy. Mm-hmm. He had a wheelchair too.
Oh yeah.
Of course he did, right? Yeah. We have to probably get somebody on here who custody to go through how security or video works in jail. I mean, we don't know anything.
I know it's hard to speak on that. We'll have to get someone in here for sure.
Yeah. Well, if they'll do it, they may not. Maybe a top secret thing or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I don't know what if your TikTok was the best thing to post.
I know.
I don't know if you're, are you, what would the other mothers say about that in preschool?
Oh man. Ooh. I don't know. Probably a lot. They probably hate me.
You don't
'Cause I'm like
talk
the
to
one,
them?
not really. I'm like that parent that shows up with like their hair all over the place, mascara down my face from sleeping all night.
No underwear?
During the day. Yeah, a lot of moms are put together when they come pick up their kids. Like there must be stay-at-home moms or something, and I come and I'm like, and I'm like, which one's mine? Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. I was living in Northern Virginia, which is a very upscale area. And I didn't fit in either. So I had a play date with another mother.
Yeah.
Other mothers.
How'd that go?
Well, it's just not me. So they're like, let's meet at the park, this little city park. All right. And up there, you would see the mothers in the store. They're like, oh, Arden, please don't use that. That's got BPA or whatever that.
Yes, the plastics
Is that
and
what
stuff
it's called?
like that. Yeah.
And they're like, you can't, don't do that. We have to use glass because, that's bad for health. And I was like, oh my God, just get the kid fed. Anyway, so I'm like, all right, I'll go to the play date. And they're all like stay-at-home mothers. And here I'm working in jail or prison or wherever. So I show up with the kids and they're coming and they're like, oh, and up there, like they don't have any nicknames for their kids. Like you say the full name.
Oh.
Like William is William. He's not. William, please don't go far from mommy, I'm like, all right. I figure the kid will come back to me. But anyway, so we're passing like the landscapers and one of the mothers says, oh, isn't that nice? They're all in uniforms. And she's like, oh, they're all in orange uniforms. And I said, yeah, they're inmates. What? She's like, well, what does a DOC mean? I said, that's DOC, right? Department of Corrections. I said, they're inmates, prisoners. She's like, yeah, no, she's like, thinking I'm kidding, right? And I'm like, no, no. I'm like, yeah, man. I said, you see that guy, the guy that's not in orange? You see the gun he's got, the high-powered rifle he's got? She's like, oh, William, please. I'm like, they're like,
His eyes.
yeah, I know. Like, don't look, William. Well, please come over here towards mommy. I'm like, I don't think, he's got a weed whacker, 300 yards away. I don't think.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just like, I don't know. It just, correctional nursing is, we're a little bit more,
We're sick.
we
That's why
are
we're
sick.
We're sick.
We are sick. Well, not only that, but there's no rose-colored glasses.
No.
For sure.
It is what it is,
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. I never forgot that. William, please come towards mom.
I remember at the jail I worked at before, one of the jobs they had for inmates was to dig the holes for the bodies. Like that was actually their job. And I was like, no, you guys don't let them do that. They're like, yes, we do. We need someone to do it. They got to do it.
What, they had their own cemetery out back?
No, they would just go, I guess I don't know if they had contracts or whatever with different funerals
right.
or cemeteries, and they'd have them go out there and they'd dig and I'm thinking, I don't know about all that. Because I feel like, I'm sure there's family members that stay for them to like cover the body, but I would think that they would steal all the jewelry.
Would open the...
People would do that, I feel like.
No, they probably got the guy with the gun over them.
You'd hope.
You know?
Yeah, but man.
25 cents an hour or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They had 2-for-1s there, too. You work 2 days, you get 1 day off your sentence.
Oh, yeah?
Neat. Yeah. And then when I came where I'm at now, I was like, you guys don't have 2-for-1s? They're like, absolutely not. We don't do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So they had like a motivation to like want to work. And they would like really want to work. They would be like, I don't have any medical problems. Because if you have any certain medical problems, they won't allow you to be a worker. Or it depends on where you work, but sometimes they're called trustees or just inmate worker. Some places they don't want them to be called trustees because they don't want them to think that we're giving them too much trust. Yeah.
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 They I had a girl in another prison in another time, and she put a grievance in because she wanted to work, which is kind of unusual. But maybe same thing, she probably wanted off her sentence. But the nurses wouldn't clear her. Usually they clear her, and they wouldn't clear her because she was blind. So she was a young girl. She was like, well, it's my right, blah, blah, blah. So I saw her. I said, she really couldn't see hardly anything. And I'm like, and she's like, oh, it's my right to work. I'm like, okay. I said, you can't work on the roof, though, because you fall off the roof, then that's a whole different set of paperwork that I got to do. So you got to stay on the ground. I'm not budging from that. She's like, okay, I won't go on the roof. Yeah, because they go put them up there and, put some tar up or whatever. That's all I need is them,
Some blind
fall
chick up
off
there, yeah.
Fall off the roof. Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of our craziness for this podcast. I'm Dr. Minter.
And I'm Nurse Brian.
And we'll see you next time. And if you need to reach us, we're at offthecuffnurses@gmail.com.